Ghanaian government has actually written a letter summoning our government. You heard me correct, summoning them. And I'm so disappointed in the South African government. But
she questioned why the South African government apologized to Ghana after a Ghanaian citizen in South Africa was interrogated harshly.
We have like a very, very myopic government. But now why would our government choose to make that man a victim of something that didn't happen?
What happened next changed the entire conversation.
The Minister of Police, an entire Minister of Police, just issued a statement lying, saying that there were attacks on Ghanaians.
Because Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister didn't just stop. In fact, he reminded them of the number of South Africans also living in Ghana.
Her ignorance and bigotry is most alarming. She clearly does not know that Ghana is currently, as we speak, by official records, 3,194 South Africans who are living here.
He didn't stop there, but he also went into the history books, reminding South Africans
you are targeting today are the very people responsible for your liberation.
And now a simple incident has turned into something bigger. Clash of narratives, a clash of memories, and a clash over what South Africa really stands for. And in this video, I break it all down. And all that you gotta do is to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Now let's get into the story.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
It is really condemnable to see that particularly West Africans have come under another round of xenophobic attacks in South Africa.
I also join you, Minister, in condemning the recent xenophobic attacks of West Africans in the Republic of South Africa, and urge that the South African government address this matter within the framework of humanitarian law and African solidarity.
So it all started with a single event. Patriotic Alliance in South Africa, interrogation a Ghanaian in South Africa. This went viral and a lot of people interpreted this as being harsh. And so there's been several reactions to this video from leadership to ordinary South Africans. And now the story has erupted to the highest level of diplomacy. Ghana has waved in, and now Ghana's Foreign Affairs has even revealed that they are going to fly the guy in the video, Ima, to a new country for him to start a new life. All will be funded by the Ghanaian government.
By the way, how is he doing? You got in touch with him?
I can confirm to you that I am in constant touch with the Ghanaian. His name is Emmanuel Asamoah. I've spoken to him directly. And
the man in the video?
Yes, and I have good news to share with the good people of Ghana. The government of Ghana has decided that we will relocate him.
You relocate this
Emmanuel Asamoah, yes.
The gentleman in the viral video.
At full cost, we will take care of his relocation and resettlement out of South Africa. I will not at this point disclose where we will be relocating him to, but because of how viral the video is, this gentleman, and the fact that his identity has been exposed and he's been the subject of a lot of trolling and consistent, threats, we have taken the decision to relocate him and to have him reintegrated at another place. He's agreed. He's willing to cooperate with us, and we are going to do that.
I see.
But we continue to extend consular assistance to him. He's doing very well. He was really traumatized, as you can expect. These are vigilantes with no legal mandate, just pouncing on innocent immigrants and pursuing them in such really offensive manner, very dehumanizing manner. And let me state for the record that We have checked, and indeed it's been confirmed by South African authorities that Mr. Mandela is not an illegal.
So they were asking for documentation,
which he has
in that video,
yes,
for him to produce documents and so on. So that was another issue that came up, that if he was living there illegally, then the steps must be taken to regularize that situation.
They have also revealed that after meeting the South African vice president and the government, they have checked the records and come to the realization that Ima has never been illegal in South Africa. And he also has no criminal records. And so finally, they apologized to him through the police minister of South Africa.
You are saying that you've checked, and this gentleman has legal status.
Yes, he's a legal resident, and that has been confirmed by authorities. Indeed, yesterday, the High Commissioner of Ghana to South Africa was invited to a meeting at the Vice President's office, the South African Vice President, and another apology was rendered, and that was confirmed that he's not an illegal migrant. He's law-abiding. He had broken no law, and the authorities reiterated the point they made in their statement that it is not for citizens to go around demanding legal documents or resident permits of other guests, other Africans living in South Africa.
However, leader of March for March, Jacinta Ngobese, seems to have a different opinion. According to her, it is very wrongful for South African government to apologize to the Ghanaian government because she thinks they did nothing wrong.
South Africa is currently under attack from all parts of the world, if I can put it that way. People are taking videos, they're misinterpreting them, they're saying anything and everything. And I think the worst thing that has happened is that the Ghanaian government has actually written a letter summoning our government. You heard me correct, summoning them because of a video that was trending on social media, and they say that that video amounts to xenophobia. And I'm so disappointed in the South African government, but I don't even know why, because I know that's just how government is. We have like a very, very myopic government. So the government went and had a meeting, etc., etc., and they did not clarify that South Africa has an immigration crisis right now. And to maintain the good relationship that we have with Ghana, they couldn't just say, we apologize if you feel that what is happening is wrong. However, our country has to enforce its laws, because we won't go to Ghana and tell the Ghanaian government what to do. Because in our country, what I saw in that video, nobody was being hit, nobody was being violent, etc., etc. That Ghanaian man was just told, politely so, please, you're not in the country with the correct documents, you're not supposed to be here, and you know this, and he knows it himself. But now why would our government choose to make that man a victim of something that didn't happen? The Minister of Police, an entire Minister of Police, just issued a statement lying, saying that there were attacks on Ghanaians. Where did the attacks happen? Because there's also another video that's happening where in Durban there was an incident of violence where the men who had been part of the march with Ngobese were violent, which is incorrect, of course, but they were violent with a South African man who was stealing phones at the time when they were walking, stealing from them. That is a person from South Africa. It's not a foreigner. Now the whole world is claiming that man was a foreigner and was being hit for being foreign in South Africa. So guys, I just want to find out from you, like, do you ever think that we as a country will ever be able to enforce our laws correctly without interference from the rest of the world telling us that when we are enforcing our laws against their citizens who have broken our country's laws, we are the ones that are wrong? Our government has failed to protect us from criminals. Our government has failed to protect us from illegal miners people doing drugs. They fail to protect us from people just mushrooming everywhere, opening shops. And if the citizens of the country are saying that they are tired, we also have rights as South Africans. And those rights are also in the Constitution. We are also allowed to enforce our citizens' arrests. We're allowed to do that. But now they keep hiding behind the fact that we're not immigration officers. You've only got 800 immigration officers in the whole country, 800, with a population of 65 million. And that is excluding illegal immigrants. So if you calculate and you do the numbers, 800 immigration officers for a population of, say, 80 million people, let's say that. That means one immigration officer for 1 million people. Does that sound practical to our government? And they keep hiding behind the Constitution that is oppressing the very same South Africans that is supposed to be protecting. So I don't understand. The police are the first people to always say, let's work with the communities to fight crime. When the communities are offering themselves to you as the police to say, we are going to be helping you, you start creating fake stories and succumbing to pressure from things that didn't happen. Because you just can't be a government that has a backbone and stand by its people and tell the truth. And tell the truth, just tell the truth. That's all that we're asking. Tell the rest of the world that you have an immigration crisis.
But Ghana didn't stay back. In a firm and calculated response, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has pushed back, not just politically, but historically. This has forced Ghana's Foreign Affairs Okudzeto Ablakwa to pull out the official statistics of South Africans living in Ghana. In fact, these are the official records of South Africans who have non-Ghanaian citizen card living officially. In fact, the unofficial one that we don't know, those who came and overstayed their visas, those who came and doing things at their own Ghana, these people are not accounted for. These are verified South Africans living and staying in Ghana with official Ghana card. In 3,194 South Africans living in Ghana and are officially
so this is Jacinta Zuma, and this is her explanation to you essentially, because this she got in touch with people around her because of the conversation. She's justifying or explaining why this happened. That she says we did something to Nigerians and so on, and the fact that we should fix the country and let people stay here to work. That's the explanation. You heard her for yourself. Now, what have you got to say on this?
Her ignorance and bigotry is most alarming. Look, first of all, when you listen to this lady, she clearly does not know that Ghana is hosting, currently as we speak, by official records, 3,194 South Africans who are living here. If you check our NIA data, the number of South Africans who have registered as non-Ghanaians to obtain the Ghana card, 3,194. 3,194 official statistics. So, to make the claim that if you travel out of your country, then you're probably out of your mind, you don't want to fix your country. Is she aware that there are over 1 million South Africans living outside South Africa? I mean, these are official statistics. And then this claim that you want to blame foreigners for crimes.
So 65%.
Crime should be handled as crime. Perpetrators should be punished. You don't distort it and use the unfortunate high crime in South Africa, which we all empathize with South Africans. I know many Ghanaians who have been victims of crime in South Africa. But you do not, because of bigotry, because of hatred, blame that on foreigners.
He didn't stop there, but he also went into the history books, reminding South Africans of how Africa and Ghana stood side by side to ensure that South Africa got out of apartheid regime.
But you see, this lady has to be taught some history. The Africans you are targeting today are the very people responsible for your liberation. It is us who came together, joined forces. Indeed, if you read Nelson Mandela's book, and I've brought a copy here, Long Walk to Freedom, the Madiba, Nelson Mandela, who led the liberation struggle in South Africa against apartheid, acknowledges the role of Ghana and many other African countries in supporting the ANC that led to the liberation of Jacinta and all of these people. And this is not how you show appreciation. Let me read from page 295 of Nelson Mandela's book, Long Walk to Freedom, when he traveled to Ethiopia to address the OAU in the early 60s. This is what he had to say about Ghana. He said, "In my address, I thanked the assembled nations for exerting pressure on South Africa, citing in particular Ghana, Nigeria, and Tanganyika." You know, Tanganyika is now Tanzania. Tanganyika and Zanzibar merged to now have modern day Tanzania, who spearheaded the successful drive to oust South Africa from the British Commonwealth. This is Nelson Mandela addressing African leaders and thanking Ghana, thanking Nigeria, thanking modern day Tanzania for the lead role we played in liberating our brothers and sisters in South Africa. After this address, Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo decided to tour the whole of Africa, seeking support, because they had then decided that, look, the ANC must now move up in terms of its strategies. It must now mobilize, form an army. They must escalate to boldly confront the apartheid regime, because the massacre, the killings of blacks was no longer tenable. Where did they get their support from? African countries.
True.
And Nelson Mandela documents them country by country in his book. For example, if you come to page 300, he says, "In Liberia, I met with President Tubman, who not only gave me $5,000 for weapons and training, but said in a quiet voice, quote, 'Have you any pocket money?' I confessed that I was a bit low, and instantly an aide came back with an envelope containing $400 in cash. From Liberia, I went to Ghana, where I was met by Oliver Tambo and entertained by Guinea's resident minister, Abdoulaye Diallo." And he documents leader after leader. In Senegal, he spoke highly of President Senghor. And he said, in the end, President Senghor furnished me. I'm reading from page 302. President Senghor furnished me with a diplomatic passport and paid for our plane fares from Dakar to our next destination in London. And this is how they left Africa. Ghana, if you come to the foreign ministry where I lead, we have a tall list of South Africans we issued Ghanaian passports to, because they have been declared stateless. We had to give them aliases so that they can go around, mobilize.
And now a simple incident has turned into something bigger. Clash of narratives, a clash of memories, and a clash over what South Africa really stands for.